Hey, I'm Max and welcome to the Launch and Destroy game tutorial. In this tutorial I'll show you how to make this game right here in Unity where you can throw different balls with different power, like this one. If I click and makes it bounce, you can destroy some boxes, and when you hit the enemy the level ends and you can go to the next level or back to the menu. In this part we'll add the multiple ball system so we can switch from one ball to the other, and we also make it so we cannot keep inputting velocity into our ball while we're launched, so we can only launch one time. Okay, so first off, my ball 1 here, I'll duplicate it, call it ball 2 I guess, maybe you can give them some better name, and I'll change the sprite to the football one. Then I will fix the collider because this one doesn't have a circle collider, it should have a capsule collider because it's a different shape. So let me just add a capsule collider, make it horizontal direction, and then squish it a little bit like this. Obviously you do this with your own sprite if you want. Then I'll duplicate my ball 1 again because my third one is a circle. So I'm going to keep the same circle collider, change the sprite, maybe make the circle a little bit smaller because this one is smaller, like this. Now I'm actually going to change the mass of each one, so I think the second one here, the football one, should be the lightest one, so I think 1 mass is okay. But my ball one, my original one, I'll set the mass to 2. And the third one is like a bowling ball, I'll set the mass to, let's say, 4. I also want to go in my ball script and add a public float max speed, so even if we drag a long distance it's always going to have a maximum speed. And in the launch I'll simply do if power is greater than max speed, then I will set power equals to max speed. In my ball one I'll set the max speed to, let's say, 100. I'm not quite sure what it is, like what it should be. Actually maybe 300, we'll test it out and see how it looks. Ball 2 I'll do, let's say, 600 because this one is like a light fast one, and ball 3 I'll do, let's say, 200. So here I'm pretty much going to use the max speed and see how it looks, and it looks pretty big. And that's because when we use the launch function we actually set a static power which is always less than what we set, like 100, and the speed that we actually get is defined by the direction we put here because it's not normalized. So in here I think I'll actually do instead if dar.magnitude is greater than max speed, then I'll do direction divided equal by direction.magnitude divided by max speed. So this should divide our direction by the difference between what it is and the max that it should be. Let's see, now it should work, and yep, it definitely seems to be working for the max. And let's see if it works as usual for under the max, and yep, it seems to be working fine. Good. So now if I limit the speed to, let's say, 100, now it's really slow, and let's say I increase it to 1000, now I should be able to go fast, and there you go. So let me just adjust real quick what I think should be the max speed. So let's say 600 for the blue one, for the football one I think probably 1200, and ball 3 probably 400. Okay, now in my player I will add a public ball array for all the balls that we have. And here I can remove the current ball because I will simply keep a private int ball index, or you can just call it ball if you want. Then in the launch ball I'll simply do balls at ball index, so we're going to get the ball at the index that we're at and launch it. And then in the update function we'll simply check if balls at ball index dot let's say is done, and we're gonna make it later, and then I'll do ball index plus plus, and then I'll do balls at ball index dot transform dot position equals to ball point, and we will also add this later. So here I'll add a public actually I'll just do vector3 ball point, and we're gonna set it in the editor. Now for the ball is done, I'll simply go in my ball, add a public void, or actually bool is done, and inside we simply have to return rigid body dot velocity dot magnitude is less than 0.01, let's say. So if we're going really slow, or just 0.1. So if we're going at less than 0.1, or if our transform.position.y is less than 0, so if we fell off the map. So what that's going to do is when we call isDone, it's going to return true if we're going very slow or if we're off the map. Otherwise it's going to return false. So once we're going very slow or we are off the map, we go to the next ball and set the next ball at our point in front of our bat. We also need to add in a player a public ball current ball, that we're going to return balls at ball index, and the reason for this is because in our camera we want to follow the current ball, but there's no variable for it anymore, so I'll just do current ball like this, and it's going to return the current one. Now for the ball point, I'll simply check my ball 1 position, so it's 1.332 and minus 2.67. So I'll go on my player, and at my ball point I'll put this and minus 2.67. And in my balls I'll do 3. I'll put my ball 1, then my ball 2, and my ball 3. Now if you play the game, you'll notice that it doesn't work at all. And that's because when we check in the update if the ball is done, it checks if it's not moving fast, and obviously our ball at the start is not moving, so it goes to the next one, and then there's no more ball and creates an error. First off, to make sure that we don't try to go to the next ball when there's no more ball, I can do here if ball index is greater than or equal to balls.length minus 1, because obviously if the balls.length is 3, the maximum ball index we can get is 2 because it goes from 0 to 2. And if it is, I can simply do like game over, we'll do it later, and then return so it doesn't go to the next ball. And also in our ball we need to add a public bool lunge, and in my isDone I want to check if lunge and this. So if it's not launched yet, it's always going to say no to isDone. And in my player, when I launch the ball, I want to do balls ball index dot launched equals to true. So I start playing, it seems to work fine so far. Now if I shoot, it goes to the next ball, and that's because you can see here my player by default is at minus 2y, and here I check if the transform position y is less than 0. So clearly 0 is not the line to go under the map. Let's do instead something like here, minus 5. So if I change it in the code to minus 5, so now if I hit play with minus 5 and I shoot, you can see it follows my ball, and then when I fall below the map, it goes to the next one. Now if this one I don't fall off the map, you can see when I stop moving, it goes to the next one. And you can see this one when it falls off the map, it doesn't go to the next one because there's no other one. So here usually we would show a screen like game over, you didn't do it correctly. So the reason why the last one is going so slow, even though the max speed is pretty similar to the first one, is because we use add force to do the launching, and add force considers the mass of the object. So if the mass is higher, we need more force to move it. So since we changed the mass for each ball, I think we could actually use the same max speeds for each of them. So let's say ball 2 600 and ball 3 600 as well, and I bet they would still go faster like than the other ones because their mass is different. So this one goes kind of fast, this one should go faster, and there you go, it does. And now this one should go slower, and it's still pretty slow, so I think I'll actually increase it a little bit. One last thing that we have to fix is, you can see when I launch my ball, I can keep putting inputs into it. To fix this, I can simply go in my pointer up and do before the swing bat if balls at ball index dot launched, or actually if it's not launched, so I can simply add a exclamation point before it, so that's not launched. So if the ball is not launched, then I want to swing the bat. And I will also add the same if for the enable arrow in the pointer down. So if we try to move and we cannot because the ball is already launched, it's not going to show the arrow, just so it looks better. So now if I try to put multiple inputs in one move, you can see the arrow does not appear anymore. Thanks for watching this part of the tutorial. Hopefully you're enjoying so far. Feel free to check out my other Unity tutorials and subscribe if you want.